you'll see a flowchart that I constructed that will help you hopefully walk through the thought process that it requires to get from looking at a set of data or hearing about a set of data and labeling it as either quantitative, discrete, quantitative, continuous, qualitative ordinal, or qualitative nominal. If you walk through, you'll see this graphic is split up into two places, and for our course, the scope of our course, we're just focusing on this. Now, if you take another class, disclaimer, if you take another class in the future about statistics, this does get complex and there is a little bit of blurring of the line. So please keep that in mind. But for our class, this is what we're focusing on. Is the data something being counted or measured, or is it a label or identifier or a category? If it's being counted or measured, you know that's quantitative. And then continue to ask yourself a question. Is the data restricted to whole numbers, or is someone counting something, or can fractions and decimals exist? If it's whole numbers or counts, even if it's integers, if there's a restriction where you cannot have decimals or fractions, it's discrete. The data is discrete. If you can have fractions and decimals, it's continuous. Now, if you ask yourself this question in the beginning and it turns out that the data is a label, identifier, or a category, then it would be qualitative. And then you ask yourself further, well, can the data be ordered in any way? Yes, if it can be ordered, it's ordinal. If it cannot be ordered, it's nominal. I am going to walk through a few of these, maybe all of them. It depends on how long it takes. I don't want the video to be hecka long, but here we go. Number one, locker numbers. Are locker numbers, if you had a list of locker numbers, is it something that can be counted or measured, or is it a label, or identifier, or a category? Well, locker numbers, they're not numbers because the number is representing a quantity. They're numbers because it gives people a unique locker number to identify which locker is theirs. So locker numbers are qualitative. Can they be ordered? Yes. In fact, it's a very meaningful order because not only do you know your locker number tells you which locker is yours, but where the locker number will tell you where your locker is. As you approach numbers close to your number, you know you're getting close to your locker. So that would be qualitative ordinal for locker numbers, number one. Shoe size. Is data something that's being counted or measured, or is it a label or identifier or category? Shoe sizes are being measured, and it's a measurement. And you can think about the average shoe size of the people in our class would tell us something about our shoe needs. So it's being counted or measured. That's a quantity, quantitative. Is the data restricted to whole numbers, or can fractions and decimals exist? So in this case, you have to have a reason behind your selection. If you say we're in America, we only talk about either whole numbers or half sizes, I would lean more to discrete on that because not all fractions and decimals can be represented. So you can make an argument for discrete, but since the decimal can be included, you can also make an argument for continuous. Now, with that being said, if this is an assessment situation, I will be giving you a cut and dry example for a multiple choice. Or if it's a vaguer example, I will be giving you an opportunity to explain, and that is what I'm trying to assess. I'm trying to assess what your reasoning is behind your selection, quantitative, discrete, or quantitative continuous for number two. Number three, the number of ants under your oven. I started getting real for the rest of these. That happened to me this summer, so it was a lot. It was crazy. So is it something being counted or measured, or is it a label or identifier? This is being counted. You'd have to count the ants. Quantitative, is it restricted to whole numbers, or can fractions or decimals exist? I mean, technically, we're going to just do whole numbers, right? If you smash an ant and like parts of it come off, you can't count that as a fractional ant. Okay, I'm really sorry, but that's not happening. So whole numbers are counts only, so discrete. So the number of ants under your oven is quantitative discrete. Your internet speed, megabytes per second. That is a something being measured or something being identified or labeled as a category. So the internet speed, the megabytes per second, millibytes. The megabytes is an amount of data. So since it's an amount, it's something that you can count or measure. So it's quantitative. And you can have fractions and decimals. If you go to speedtest.net, you'll see there can be fractions and decimals. And it's continuous. I mean, act like I know something about this now because we just had to upgrade our internet for this situation. 5, the rooms of your house. Not the number of rooms in your house, but what types of rooms you have in your house. So is it something being counted or measured, or are we talking labels, identifiers, or categories? Well, in this case, these are labels because each room of our house is labeled. Even if you don't have a good label for it, in my old house, we called the basement the tile room. There's a room with tile. We called that the tile room. And, everyone has, family room, living room, bathroom, kitchen. Every room has a label. So that's a qualitative scenario. And can it be ordered in any way? No. Those labels in and of themselves are not going to be ordered. Let's see. Your morning beverage preference. If I asked my whole class, what do you drink in the morning? OJ, water, coffee, tea. Then we will... Those are words, so it should be no contest as to whether it's quantitative or qualitative. If it's just words, then we know it's qualitative. So then we are going to say that it's a category and qualitative, and can it be ordered? No, it cannot be ordered. We're not going to order beverages. And, fun fact, alphabetical order doesn't count, okay? Sorry to say. Student iPad numbers, those are numbers, but... they're not numbers. It's so that each student knows which iPad is his or her or their iPad. So you have, in this case, a number, but nothing is being counted or measured. We are not using a number to show an amount of anything. We're using a number as a label or identifier. So that's qualitative. We are going to order the data because they're numbers. So it would be qualitative ordinal for the student iPad numbers. Last thing, Zoom meeting ID numbers. If you have to type those codes in every single time, you have to ask yourself, are those being counted or measured, and that's what the number represents? Or is it a label or identifier or a category? Now, technically, I guess someone can make the argument that the numbers for the Zoom meetings just get generated one by one. So it seems like there's a count, but that's not why we use those IDs. We use the Zoom meeting IDs as an identifier for what meeting you need to go to. In that case, we're going to talk about that's going to be an identifier. It's qualitative. Can it be ordered? Technically, yes, because they're numerical values, and of course those can be ordered, I guess. So that's ordinal there. Now again, that I say I guess, blah, 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 I'm being vague. Give me your rationale. Anytime you can, give me your rationale even if you're not sure. I need to just know, like, I am more focused on your learning than I am on your ability to 25% chance pick a multiple choice question answer, okay?